Okay, guys. Now, we're reading from Luke chapter 16. We left off the Greek at verse 22. Now, I want to read the English though, okay? Because the Greek interlinears, okay, have broken rhythm, okay, to us English-speaking people. Broken rhythm. Not to them, but to us is broken rhythm. I call it broken rhythm because, like, things are like backwards to us or forwards, you understand? So that's just a deal. So I want to really get the thrusts of this verse because this is quite important. A couple of things happened here that happens to everybody, the rich and the poor. Well, let's get at it. This is an NASB. Now, people may say, well, Angelo, the NASB is not the greatest translation of all. Why do you use it all the time? Well, I know it's not the greatest translation of all. It's one of the greatest, though, ever done. Absolutely. Absolutely. Very dynamic equivalent translation. Very good. But I know it's not the end all be all. But the thing is, the app is very easy to use. Okay, I have some apps on the phone that are not so easy to use that I wish I could use, like the Net Bible, the new English translation. I mean, that's very respected by Dan Wallace. Now, if Dan Wallace respects the translation, okay, then you're talking about a great translation. So he doesn't really like a lot of English translations, and being a Greek scholar, that's going to happen. But I wish I could use the Net Bible, but it's hideous. It's a hideous app. It's very hard to get in and out and stuff like. Once you're in it, it's wonderful, but it's just to get in it. It's a big waste of time. It really is. You have to take a picture of it before you do the study, and that's just the deal. Now I can go in and out and stuff like that, and it's very easy to use this app. So coupled with the fact that it's a great translation, number one, number two, that the app is great. Well, I mean, so that's just a deal. Now, so let's get to this verse. It says over here in verse 22, and I just want to pray, since it's another day, Holy Father and merciful God, please continue to bless us and cleanse us of our sins. And I thank you for a new day that I don't deserve, for everything that I received so far this morning. And make this study a very profitable one for thy children and the people yet to be born and the people that will not have any excuse. In Jesus' name, multiply the study. Amen. Well, this is the coup de grace, this is the key. So let's check it out. It says over here, now the poor, okay, now the poor man, we saw the Greek, now the poor man died and was carried away by the angels to Abraham's bosom or chest. And the rich, Greek word plusios, and the rich, you could call him Mr. Plusios. I mean, he doesn't have a name over here. Okay. Anyway, and the rich man also died and was buried. Let's go to the Greek, okay, for the Greek geek. And was buried. That's the end of it. You understand what I'm saying? Let's check this out. So I don't want to look at everything again, but I want to look at this word buried. You understand? You see the Greek word for plusios up there, spelled out B, typifying a temple, a Greek temple. Lambda, sometimes pronounced lambda. So I don't know why. I know there's a, and according to American Greek, but so I don't know why people say lambda. It's really lambda, but anyway, P or lambda, Omicron and Upsilon, nowadays called Omicron and Epsilon, like I said before, with the cube marker. The cube marker is for accent purposes. Okay, so blue. It's not blue. It's blue. Okay. Sigma, Iota, Omicron, nowadays called Omicron, and final sigma. You may say, what's a final sigma if you're not seeing this? Well, there's different versions of the S in Greek. You have three of them. You have a capital sigma, an intervocalic sigma that tends to drop off sometimes. A little tiny sigma, little S. Sometimes it doesn't drop off. Sometimes it's very important. It's a very important letter in Greek. The sigma is critical. You see it in the aorist tense, morphine. How do you know something is a completed action in past time? Well, I mean, not all arrows are created equal, but basically, okay, the sigma and the alpha is used. That's called first aorist. Okay, that's one of the clues that you're in the aorist tense. Okay, along with the augment, if you're talking about past time, the augment is like an e that the Greeks put in the beginning of the word if it begins in a consonant. Okay, you understand what I'm saying? So they put an epsilon there. That's their ed, if you will. Okay, if you want to put it like that to remember it. So they put an e in the beginning of the word. We put ed in the end of the word, or just a d sometimes. Anyway, like you put liked, you just put a d there. If you write it out, you'll put the ed inadvertently anyway. You know what I'm saying? So the sigma is critical. What a critical letter. It means to synchronize, and then you can use it as as your future tense formative. Just a sigma, nothing else. Okay. Now, I mean, if you have a root that ends in a particular letter, like a P or a K sounding letter in Greek, well, then you can use a letter that has those two sounds. Okay, meaning the K sound, and then you're using something that has an S sound for your future tense formative. Well, you can use the C. If you have something like blep, like blepo, you just you could keep the integrity of the P, the second P sound, and use a sigma, but you don't have to do that. You could just use a C, a PS letter in Greek. So I'm just saying that you can kill two birds with one stone by using one letter that has two sounds in Greek. Because anyway, you use a sigma for the future tense formative. Now liquids, you use the epsilon sigma, they drop off. You're not going to even see that in a liquid. You don't even have to. They don't even drop off. They don't even drop off. I mean, it did, so you don't have to write it, but you don't drop them off. You don't write them down, and then and it's just like you're not typing everything out. We say they drop off, but it's just like in Greek we say, for example, the tau reduplicates. Well, it didn't reduplicate, okay, because it wasn't duplicated before. Okay, we just say that. Okay, we call it reduplication, but it didn't. But you know what I mean? It didn't do it the first time. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, I don't know why we say reduplication, but the is what I don't get. Duplicates? Okay, fine. But reduplicates, sounds kind of strange. Sometimes, just like when Mao said, I don't know why they call it a hortatory, subjunctive. Why don't they call it the subjunctive or exhortation? Sometimes things don't make sense in Greek the way we put it linguistically, like lingo-wise, But anyway. But the sigma is absolutely critical and essential. Okay. Now let's get back to this. Clusius. That's just the deal. He was rich. And what's this over here? Right? The rich man. It says over here, where's the thing over here? Let me see. Rich man. Okay. Clusius. And was buried. AI passive construction. He was very active in doing a lot of stuff in his chapter. Stuff in his mouth. Well, I mean, it's good to eat. I'm not saying. I mean, listen. But when you're not sharing, at no point in your life, it becomes sin. You can stuff your mouth all you want as long as you give thanks to God and share. But this guy did neither or neither. I mean, he didn't do anything like that. He didn't share. The guy was outside of his gate, and he couldn't listen. He had to be carried to be outside of the gate of this rich man. He had to be carried to Abraham's bosom. I mean, this is, listen. It's kind of strange that that Lazarus had to be carried to Abraham's bosom, and the rich man had to be carried to Sheol. In and of themselves, they couldn't travel to Sheol on their own, even though the distance is not really that far. I mean, right below me, thousands and thousands and thousands of feet. Okay, all right, maybe even miles. I don't know how what's the traveling distance from point A to point B, Sheol. Somebody could probably tell you that. It doesn't even believe in the Bible. Okay, the distance between the planet surface and the core. Probably Mr. Spock could. You know what I mean? We love Spock, but I mean, let's just face it. I mean, he said a lot of things that were a little disturbing. Okay, and I got to get into that. As a matter of fact, Leonard Nimoy was a Jewish person. He was a Jew, and he played the role of Mr. Spock. But I can tell you this: that the core, the center of the middle, the heart, Greek word kardia, the katotera meri, the lower regions of the earth. Okay, Matthew chapter 12, verse 40, and Ephesians, Ephesim in Hebrew, Ephesians chapter 4, verse 9. Katotera meri means the lower parts, the lower regions. You understand what I'm saying? Of the earth. Of the earth there, and of the earth in Matthew. Okay, that's the genitive of place. Taste gaze, you understand? He was buried. It's in the passive. Okay. Now, it doesn't say that he was carried. Okay. It doesn't say he was carried by the angels, but the angels did carry him. I mean, but didn't tell him, like I said before, don't fear. It's a guarantee that the angels, okay, you understand? When they carried him to the other portion of Sheol, West Sheol, or West Hell, the non-paradise of Sheol, if you will, the section that contains Taja, the angels didn't say anything to this guy. Now, I listen, I said before, if the angels don't tell you, I don't care who's out there listening to the study, if they don't tell you, do not fear, you are in trouble. Because you have to hear those words. Now, if you hear those words, do not fear, well, just, enjoy the ride. Enjoy the ride because you're saved. There's a 100% guarantee, like never before, that you're saved. Now, we can get the witness of the Spirit here, that we are the sons of God. But man, when your soul is carried to be face-to-face, prasopan, Hebrew and Greek respectively, I mean, when you're face-to-face with Jesus, you have to, before that, you have to have a little flight. Okay, you understand what I'm saying? You have to have a ticket in your hand. And you didn't purchase a ticket, that's a problem. You understand what I'm saying? The salvation is free. The ticket has been paid for to tell us die by Christ. The ticket of his blood. So that's just the deal. So this rich man probably was carried. Okay, he was buried. That's the first time you saw something in the passive when it has to do with the rich man. The passive. Everything else was in the active. The dressing up in splendor, the enjoying the days, every stinking day. Everything was in the active, and now he died and is in the passive. Somebody took his body and buried it. You understand what I mean? That's the end of it all. Passive construction in Greek. Here it is. That's just a deal. Aorist indicative passive was buried. He didn't bury himself. Okay, that would be in the middle. That's just a deal. But this is in the passive, the purely passive construction. Somebody did it to him. He was buried. You see? His 5 brothers are there enjoying the house after he died. He said to Abraham, he sent Lazarus. Why? Why didn't you invite Lazarus into your house? You see? He wanted Lazarus to go back to now he wants Lazarus to go to the house. That's not brought up in studies. It has to do with Luke. He wants Lazarus to go to his house, but he didn't want Lazarus to go to his house when Lazarus was sick upon the planet surface. It's kind of cheap. It's kind of a little bit too late. You understand what I'm saying? He wants Lazarus to go to his brothers from the dead, because he knew that his brothers weren't going to believe in Moses and the prophets, okay? No, but Abraham, if somebody rises from the dead, comes back from the dead, they're gonna repent. Abraham said no. How many times you got to say no to these sinners? Oh, but this and but that. But now he wants to. He didn't invite him to the house before. He despised him. Lazarus. Just look at this guy with saws outside of my gate. What's he doing there anyway? You understand what I'm saying? I'm over here eating in front of everybody. Right in front of the window just to make sure everybody could see me. You understand what I'm saying? And this Lazarus. Get him out. I'm rich. He's poor. This is nothing in common. But here it says there's something in common. They both died. Now, I want to bring this up again. Lazarus, this is not brought up in Luke. I'm glad I'm studying this, man. A lot of stuff are not brought up, because people don't look at it all the way through and really think about it too much, the poor man. Okay, he's poor, but he didn't deserve to go to paradise. You got to understand. Lazarus did not. I don't care how poor he was. I don't care how sick he was. I care, but not to the point of God's, snuffing out God's mercy. I will have mercy upon whom I will have mercy. I will have compassion upon whom I will have compassion. It's not for him who willeth or runneth, but God who shows mercy. What was that at? Verse 15 of chapter 9 of Romans? Come on, man. Sometimes we forget that this poor man, okay, he was poor and sick, okay, I agree. And he was pitiful. But he was pitiful also in his sins. He was a sinner. He didn't deserve paradise. He didn't deserve the park. He didn't deserve to go to a garden. Okay, a luscious garden where there was light. Okay, because in God there's no darkness at all. If I make my bed in Sheol, thou art there. Psalm 139, okay, fine. But he didn't deserve to go. He didn't have a ticket to go to Sheol on his day. He paid for it. No. That's just the deal. We don't bring that out. But let's look at the Greek, okay? Because we already spoke about that. So it was buried. So what's that? Well, let's look at the lexical form. Now, with some of you that are not familiar, the lexical form are always, when it comes to the verbal system, always in the present tense. Always. Now, they could throw in some goodies there, like George Rikerberry's Greek lexicon. He'll put the future tense in there, and maybe some other lexicons will put another tense or whatever the case may be. But as a rule, a straitjacketed rule, by the way, your main Greek headings will be in the present tense. Okay, present tense. Okay, they can't be continuous. I'm just saying. Haptu is in the present tense. That's continuous. You understand what I'm saying? Don't keep clinging on to me, said Jesus to Mary, for I have not yet ascended to the Father. Okay, I was visiting Sheol. I didn't go to him yet. I gave him my spirit. I committed my soul to him. But I have to ascend, and so I do believe that the second ascension, not the second ascension, but the first ascension, okay, was not recorded in John or in the other Gospels. Remember that he did things and said things that were not recorded. It says it even in the same Gospel, in the Gospel of John. Okay, that's not taught a lot. That's not taught almost at all. Norman Geisler didn't believe in it. Okay? that there was ascension before the ascension. No, I believe in it. That's just because he said, I go, tell my brothers that I go to the Father, to my Father and your Father, to my God and your God. I mean, when he ascended, it doesn't need to be written and recorded. He said that listen, you go tell my brothers I'm going to the store. So it doesn't have to record in the story about Angelo that I went to the store. I'm talking to a woman, right? And I'm trying to make it as close as possible to the story of that's recorded in chapter 20 of the Gospel of Yohanan. You understand what I'm saying? And so I'm talking to this woman. I said, listen, don't keep on holding on to me. I know you're happy to see me. You haven't seen me in a while, but go and tell my family that I'm going someplace else. Okay? Bye-bye. And I laugh because the thing is that, when I was debating Mark from Missouri, he was out of it. And obviously, he was taking medication, and I feel for him because he takes medication late at night or whatever. And so in some of our debates and campaigns, I can't complain because I fell asleep in one debate. I fell asleep. And I fell asleep like 3 times. But at least I was out of it completely. I wasn't like, debating like a zombie or saying something silly like this. And I said, okay, bye, Mark. And he said, bye-bye. Bye-bye. It was like a child. I think it was funny. But getting back to this. Okay? He was buried. Somebody took him and buried him in the sand. You understand what I'm saying? I'm just saying. Now, probably it was in a tomb. Okay, they didn't bury him in they didn't bury him in the ground, but probably a rich man's tomb. Okay, and in 1 year they would have came back and collected his bones and put it in an ossuary. The rich man's bones. Not probably, because he wasn't raised from the dead, but because I'm thinking about something else. But he was buried, and then in a tomb. He was left in a tomb. Okay, so they probably wrapped his body up, and with this and that and wrappings or whatever the case may be, and then they placed his body in the tomb, and they probably came like 1 year after that and collected the rich man's bones and put it in an ossuary with his name on it and stuff like that. And it was probably a family tomb, so you would see some other ossuaries in there wherever that tomb is located, if it even exists. Okay, an ossuary is like oh boy, it's like I don't know if it was 3 or 4 feet long, or like maybe I don't know, 2 feet wide, something like that. I have to look at the measurements again historically, but that was the burial system at that time. Okay, they will let the body decompose. Okay, let me just make sure that I'm touching my screen, because then it'll dim out. Because sometimes when I talk, I keep my eyes closed and I don't know what's happening. Sometimes I keep on talking and it went dim, and the recording stopped a long time ago. Okay, So and I have enough battery power now to do the study, to finish it. I hope. I started at 75, but 75 on this battery, an old battery like this on this phone that has about like 3 years, is not like it was before. But so they would let the body decompose for about a year. Okay, so that's what they did with this rich man. They let his body decompose for about a year. Okay, so let's say he died in February. Okay, and then what we call February anyway. Incidentally, the year in the Jewish calendar is 5,786. Okay, that's as of 2026. Okay, the year 5,786 according to the Jewish calendar. Now we're at 2026. So whose calendar does God go by? That's why it was foolish setting up dates. 1994, the year 2000, the year 2011 is stupidity. He doesn't go by our calendar. If anything, he's going to go by the Jewish calendar, says somebody. You understand what I'm saying? It's the year 5786. So obviously when 2000 came, God doesn't have to honor that. Okay, you understand? They're getting back to the burial system, the ossuary, the stone box. So they will let the body decompose, and then so they let the body decompose of this rich man, and then they collected all his bones and put it in a stone chest. And that stone chest is someplace. It just hasn't been discovered yet. Okay, it is someplace, somewhere. You understand what I'm saying? He's still in Shield though. 2,000 years after this account. Okay, you understand what I mean? Now we don't know the timing of the story. We don't know if it happened before Jesus came to earth or during his incarnation or what. It's not in the future tense. So we know that it happened before Jesus told the story. Okay, so I mean, who was this rich man? I have no idea. He's not even named. But I can tell you something. What's coming up is very stark. It's going to give you a clue, an indication what kind of nationality he might have been. Okay, of the Greek word for child. Okay, that's a clue in and of itself that he was a child of Abraham. So I mean, I want to get to that in verse 25. But over here, it says thapto. It almost looks like an imperative, doesn't it? Like the mood of command, but it's not. It's kind of tricky because of the tau and omega. Tau and omega is one of the imperative morphemes, the mood of command. You know what I mean? The to, but that's not the deal. So you have over here thapto. So theta, alpha. Theta means divine. Alpha means rising. Okay. So that's kind of interesting, and then the P I already told you about that, and then so actually the stem here, the present tense stem is stopped, okay, and then the omega is a personal ending for some people. For some people is nothing, ace a. Some people have it at o ace a. So that'll be the paradigm for this thing. Okay, if you follow it through, So it means buried. I bury, actually. It says over here. Let's look at it. Let's look at the semantic range, or I call the semantic domain, or the semantic pool. I call it the definition. Okay, to bury. Okay, that's it. That's kind of cheap. Okay, look at Mouse's complete expository dictionary of Old and New Testament words along with Vine's. You can see some more definitions probably in Strong's. A written out book of Strong's will probably have a deeper set of definitions. George Riker Berry's, it's not vast, but it was okay. And then United Bible Society's Greek lexicon, look at that. I had a pocket one. I couldn't even read it for several years. I couldn't read it for about a decade. I bought it in 1994, actually, and I couldn't read it for a very long time. I just had it in the house. I should have brought it actually in my coat to the Philippines. If I would have done it over again, I would have brought small things like that in my coat. Or in the luggage. It wasn't so heavy. It's just too bad, that I didn't bring some of the things that you can't get again. Was Peter a pope? Obviously, the answer was no, and he brings it forth. Gives it a strong no. Julius Armanti, you can't get that again, unless you go to eBay maybe or something like that and get these books. I mean, it's really, it's hideous, the decision that I made of not bringing some of these little tiny volumes with me in the plane. But you can't put an egg, you can't unscramble an egg, so you can't take milk off the floor and drink it. You understand what I'm saying? And put it like it was before. What's the lexical for? Well, did I spell it out already? I think I did, but I'll do it again anyway. Theta nowadays called theta. Alpha, you got the cube marker right there in the first syllable. So, actually, thop. Thop is the first syllable, thop, and then to. And so you got the P, and then got the tau nowadays called tough, and then omega. And omega is a critical letter in Greek. Absolutely critical. Absolutely critical. I mean, all of these letters are important, but man, there are some letters that really stand out. Omega is the Pac-Man letter, I call it, because it swallows up everything that's in the way. Okay, so I mean, it's used for it's not here, but it's used for a subjunctive. Morphine, the subjunctive is the mood of probability or possibility, like the may, if, and might, and all this other jazz. You understand what I'm saying? Critical letter in Greek. Absolutely critical. Absolutely critical. The theta can reduplicate in the perfect tense. The theta in and of itself nowadays called theta means divine. It's the first letter for God. Okay? Theta nowadays called theta. You understand what I'm saying? So alpha means rising. Is important in the word for resurrection. I mean, P is critical. It's the first letter in pneuma, which can be translated spirit, the Holy Spirit, if you will, pneumati, found and recorded in verse 18 of chapter 3 of 1 Peter. So, I mean, these letters are very critical. I mean, that's just it. So, let's look at the construction. It was buried. That's the end of it all. It says over here, the textual form, I call it the textual form, is, let me see, etafe. Etafe. Now, you would read Greek like an Italian would speak. Etafe. Seropoli. Like that. Seropoli. Like that. They would speak like that, Pospai. Pospai. They sound like that. You could say in Greek, give me a cafe. Cafe means coffee in Greek. It's the same in the Philippines. It's the same in Spanish. I mean, cafe is kind of universal. You know what I'm saying? That's just that deal. Now, so there's epsilon, tau, alpha, a phi, and the phi is a ph in Greek, and eta nowadays called eta. Is an E class in Biblical Greek, but an I class in modern Greek. Okay. Etafe was buried. That's just the deal. Etafe. You have the epsilon there. Actually, the stem changed from the first letter in the stem here went from theta to tau. Okay. So that's just the deal. And then the P went to phi. Okay. This is an aorist passive, though. Aorist passive construction. And that's just a deal. Now you have the augment there, epsilon there. Okay. This is an aorist indicative. So you're the indicative. So I mean, you have the epsilon there as an augment. Okay. Now remember, I said that the epsilon is placed before a what, pointing out time. Okay, time. And Ekeruxen, actually, he preached. We have an augment over there that Jesus preached in Sheol. Well, we saw that already in 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 19. You understand? Now, who did he preach to? Well, he preached to the Floodanites. So we went through that. Okay, so it wasn't like he was made alive, and when after he was made alive, he preached. No, how could he preach to the Floodanites after he was made alive? Meaning after he was raised from the dead. You understand what I'm saying? How can he go to preach? How can he go to preach to the Floodanites? If the Floodanites, if he was made alive, that means he was resurrected, and then he didn't go to Sheol again. So how can he preach to the Floodanites upon the planet surface if they weren't even upon the planet surface? It doesn't make any sense, the NIV sometimes. NIV is a great translation, it's one of the greatest ever made. But the problem with the NIV is that they over-interpret, okay? You have to give some interpretation. You have to. You have to stick in some words here and there, continuously, or whatever the case may be, for the present tense. You can't draw it out in a subjunctive and an infinitive like that in your participle. So you have to stick in the word continuous sometimes. You have to. Or keep on. He kept on doing this. I mean, that's what I would translate it, keep on. So like, keep doesn't mean, like for us in English nowadays, keep, it doesn't really mean guard. It means to continue to keep on eating, continue to eat like that. It's just have a different meaning in our English vocab nowadays. You understand what I'm saying? But getting back to this, the epsilon is here as an augment. It's like an ed in English. Etafe, okay? He was buried. Etafe, buried. Ossuary. But before that, before they collected his bones, he was already in Sheol. Before the rich man was collected, because the collectors they do come sometimes to collect. You understand what I'm saying? So they collected his bones and put it in a stone chest. Okay, that's how they used to bury in that time. And some ossuaries do. If you're asking, do they have ossuaries? They have hundreds of them. Scores of ossuaries by now. Absolutely. Caiaphas is the chief priest, high priest. Caiaphas, the one that scorned. I tell you, I ask you now, are you the Son of God? And he said, you said it. And you're going to see the Son of God coming in clouds of glory with great power. He tore his robe like a bastard. Caiaphas, you understand what I'm saying? Ah! I don't think he's turned his robes down in Sheol. You understand what I'm saying? If he wasn't saved. Because, I don't know. I mean, if he died unsaved, I don't know, man. Imagine meeting Jesus face to face and never being saved. To whom as much is given, much shall be required. You preached in the streets. Remember me? Yeah, I remember you, you bastard. That's why you're going to hell. Because you didn't believe in me while I was in your face. Yeah, but I did this, I did that. I was the high priest. So what? Where's your ticket? Where's your wedding garment? Out you go. I never knew you. Depart from me, you workers of iniquity, you bastard. You see? They found his ossuary box, okay, in 1990. Near the temple site, as a matter of fact. So his box was found. The ossuary was found. The stone chest that contained, contains. They probably didn't take it out. I mean, Caiaphas' bones, his remains. You see, everything ends, man. I was telling somebody about the most hated woman in America, Madeline Ojeda, that she was chief in taking prayer and the Bible out of school. I know she took prayer out of school around 1963 via the Supreme Court, of all things. And so the thing is that she did that, with her sons. Now, one of her sons repented. Thank God, because in 1995, fast forward now from 1963 to 1995, about 32 years after, she was murdered in Texas, along with her granddaughter, her favorite one, and her son that wasn't saved. I'm not going to go through all of it, but, she was strangled to death. And before she was strangled to death, before she was suffocated by her killers, she was yelling and screaming. Now, listen. Why was she yelling and screaming? Why was she scared? She was scared to death. Why? If there's no God, so why you yell and scream? So what? Kill me, go ahead. As a matter of fact, I'll give you the rope. Go ahead, do it. I don't care. I got a hip replacement. My hips are hurting me and stuff like that. Go ahead. But she didn't say that. She was yelling and screaming, and she was horrified because she knew that she was going to go to hell. That's it. Sticking out her finger at God, her middle one, in a cartoon. F you, God. You see, that was her. It's not me, it's her. And she was doing that in a cartoon. Okay? F the church, F God. And now she's in Sheol. Tacha. You see, it all ends. It ended for this rich man, it ended for Marilyn O'Hara about 2,000 years later. Taking prayer out of school in 1963. You know, what to God that she would have died, okay, when her mother wanted to kill her in the womb. What to God, though, man. Her mother knew that she was carrying some satanic being, okay, in her womb. Some kind of a being that's satanic, such a dirty. You understand what I'm saying? She knew that she was carrying something like that, a demon, something that she fell down the steps. She wanted to fall down the steps to kill the baby. And the baby was still born. Madeline O'Hara. You see? She grew up and she didn't even know what she was. She didn't know that she was an atheist. She explained her plight. You understand what I'm saying? To this woman. And she said, I know, Madeline. You're an atheist. That's what you are. Oh, I never knew that. Madeline O'Hara said. No, you're not a skeptic. You're an atheist. 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 Alpha primitive negates the what? You understand what I'm saying? Alpha primitive. Good old alpha primitive in Greek. You understand what I'm saying? Negating a what? The fool has said in his heart, no God. Literally in Hebrew. What's Psalm 14? And down the road. I mean, you can't make it up. Don't they ever learn? Stalin, Hitler, Napoleon, Saddam Hussein, Bin Laden died. You see? And now they're waiting for insult into injury. The lake of fire. And that's the end of it all. This guy lived in splendor for the last time in his existence because there's no planning, there's no work, there's nothing like that in Sheol. That's another thing we have to look at. As a matter of fact, we have to see that. It doesn't say there's no life in Sheol according to verse 10 of chapter 9 of Ecclesiastes. That's another thing we have to look at. I already did before in my No Annihilation series, but I want to look at it again. So let's go on to verse 23. Now it says over here, and in, okay, so you have and there, Kai, and in is n, okay, in Greek, okay. So n has a vast array of meanings in Greek. I mean, this idea that n only means n. I mean, a Jehovah's Witness told me actually the bait and campaign. Mark, he said, n means in. It doesn't mean by. Come on, what Greek lexicon? What Greek studies have you been studying? You understand what I'm saying? Do you know that n can be translated with an articular infinitive as a when or while? Give me a break, man. Know your stuff first. Don't tell me you have a 10,000-foot sword and you come into a debate. You understand what I'm saying? And you tell me that you've been improving your Greek and stuff like that, and you don't know nothing. You didn't even know what case was arche in John 1:1. Come on, man. You don't even know the case? And then he doesn't even know the article that would be there if it needed to be there. Te. He said ha. I wasn't talking about ha. Actually, he says ho. Now, what's that? I know some older Bible teachers used to say ho. It's not ho, man. It's either o or ha. I mean, come on, man. Deny. It's disgusting. Denying Jesus. You don't even know nothing about nothing. 10,000-foot sword. And by the way, nobody can carry a 10,000-foot sword and wield it anyway in war. Oh, let's get to this. And in, okay, and that's going to have the word for Hades here. Okay, Ade. Now, Ade is found and recorded in verse 26 7, I think, right? In Acts of the Apostles, Apostle chapter 2, and then is recorded also in verse 10 of Psalm 16 in English and Hebrew, and in some Greek Septuagints have it in 16, but some Greek Septuagints, which is known as the LXX. L means 50 and X means 10, so LXX means 70. Some Greek Septuagints has it in Psalm 15 though. Okay. So I think the Celestial Brenton Greek Septuagint that I had in my house. There you go again. I should have brought that. But that's easy to get. You can get that on Amazon, I think, still though. I mean, so that I actually had it in Psalm 15. So a day is there also, I think, in the dative also though. Okay. But I think it's in the accusative case. I think in Acts, because it has a new there, Adain. Okay, so that might be something there. So Hades. Hades is the idea of Sheol, the abode of the dead. Okay, and they got another Greek word for Gehenna. That has to do with hell. Excuse me, guys. Gehenna. Everybody knows that Gehenna was known to be in the south side of Jerusalem, as a garbage dump. Okay, garbage dump for actual bodies of animals and human beings. And unfortunately, there were sacrifices done in the Old Testament. And Jeremiah points that out by God, that they would burn their children and cast them into that place. And that's one of the reasons why God wasn't going to hear the prayer of Jeremiah for those people. Okay, so but Sheol, Hades, is really translating a day here. Okay, a day, alpha, delta, eta, a day, actually, because of the acute marker of actually Hade. Actually, sorry about that, guys. There's a rough breathing marker there. So it sounds like Hades, Hade. Okay, so Hade, alpha with the rough breathing marker and the acute marker. So ha. And then you have delta and then eta. Nowadays called eta with the iota subscript. So Hade. Sorry about that. Now let's go. Now in Sheol, okay, having lifted up, and this has to do with the rich man. This is an APA. This is a participle, the aorist participle active. Okay, so he was very active in lifting up. So I thought that there's no life in shit. There's no life after death. The Jehovah's Witnesses always like to witch hunt and complain. You guys believe in life after death. We don't. And if they say that they do, it's just lip service. It's lip service. It's lip service with Jesus. Not Jesus. There's no Jesus now, according to the witnesses. He's the Archangel Michael now. Not Jesus. Jesus is dead forever. Dead, said Charles St. Russell in Volume 5, Study of the Scriptures, on page 454. It's just lip service. They don't believe in King Jesus. They believe he's deader than a doornail, man. But how can you put the Prince of Life, the author of life, to death anyway? Verse 15 of chapter 3. Aproxes apostolon de Acts of the Apostles. You can't put the author of life to death. You understand what I'm saying? He has an indestructible life. Verse 16 of chapter 7 of Hebrews. How can you put somebody who said, how can you put him to death eternally? If he said, I am the way, Greek word hadas, I am the truth, aletheia, and I am the life, Greek word zoe. You can't put life to death though, man. You could put the flesh to death, yes. But not Jesus' life. His actual life, his soul, his spirit. You understand? You understand, right? But you don't understand. That's the ever learning and never coming to the truth. To twisting the scriptures until you understand it. But let's get to this. It says over here, okay, having, okay, lifted. Now, lifted will be the verb. Having will be the sort of the helping verb that you put the ing on, in your translation. Okay. Now, this is an aorist participle active. So let's check out the morphemes. So you have over here eparas, okay, eparas. And so it's just no. It looks like a form is actually okay, pyro. But you see the iota sometimes a lot in these present tense forms. The Amy, see the iota there. Compensatory, lengthening. Sometimes you see that, they'll add an iota like that. You understand what I'm saying? I believe in the word for haste. I think they did that. Okay. So I mean, the stem is hen. So I mean, it's just from henos, from the genitive. You could take out the omicron and the sigma and come out with hen. That's the stem. So how do you come up with ace, haste? Well, now the sigma. You press the sigma against the nu and it dropped off. You understand what I'm saying? So instead of saying S, I mean, you put a iota in the middle of the sigma and the epsilon. So and then in rough reading markers you have ace. That's how that happened. Yep, that's just the deal. Now, having lifted up, okay, having lifted up, it says over here, eparas, having lifted up. This is a participle. You understand what I'm saying? Eparas. So that's just the deal. This is a nominative masculine singular construction along with an APA construction. After an APA construction, aorist participle active, so he's very much active in Sheol. Very much active in Sheol. Just like Jesus was active in Sheol and preaching to the Floodonites. He was active. AIA construction found recorded in 1 Peter chapter 3 and verse 19. Ekeduksen. That's an AIA construction. He was very active in preaching and proclaiming the good news to those sinners that died at the time of Noah's construction of the ark. You know what I'm saying? That's just the deal. All mercy, man. God went to the worst sinners in the Old Testament, the worst of the worst. I mean, the worst. He didn't go to the Philistines. He didn't go to that chamber, that the side of that fulake, that prison. He didn't go to the people of Jericho that were in a Sheol for a very long time. He said, "The hell with them." He didn't go to Sodom and Gomorrah, being captive, held captive until that great day. You understand what I'm saying? He didn't go there. I mean, he didn't go to the Canaanites. Okay, you see what I'm saying? He didn't go there. No. He didn't go to the Babylonians. He went to the worst of the worst. See, that's typical. I mean, he went to the worst of the worst, the Floodonites of all people. I mean, who started the ball rolling. The ones that were so bad that God said, I mean, I gotta kill all of them. I gotta get rid of all these bastards, mixing themselves up with demons as having children and stuff like that. Now, trying to mess up the messianic line through demonic activity. I gotta get rid of those bastards. But then he went to them. That's mercy, man. To save imagine you talking to the worst enemy. And not only just talking to them, but dying for them. That's what Jesus did. You understand what I'm saying? While we were yet enemies, Christ died for us. Romans chapter 5. He lifted up his eyes. It says over here, being in. And let me see. Now, where says eyes over here, though? Let me see. Did I skip something? Yeah, I did skip a little bit over here. So I'm going to go backtrack. I lifted up the eyes. Now, the eyes is you have tus there, so that's accusative. That's easy. There's accusative article there. Tus tas ta from that side of the paradigm. Ta with an alpha, and then eyes is ophthalmos. That's in the accusative construction. The accusative case is the case of limitation as the extent of the lifting up was not the hands, was not the feet, was not the head, but was the eyes. The eyes were lifted up. That's the case of limitation as the extent. Okay. The genitive is the case of limitation as the kind. What kind of a kingdom? What kind of a heart? Says Julius Aramanti in his great book. You understand what I'm saying? It's a great book. The only thing that needs to be, not the only thing, but that needs to be changed, some things here and there, but punctiliar, it's a great commentary. They should just make it, Dan Wallace and Mount should preserve that, just like they want people to preserve their writings. What if something pops up that's not true in Mount's Basics of Biblical Greek or whatever the case may be, Beyond the Basics book that Dan Wallace did? Well, you going to throw it away? All that work for nothing? No. Julius Armenti did that in 1950, published that in 1950. And then, and punctiliar has changed. I understand that and some other things, okay? But make the charts new and stuff like that. Or what? They did it for that bastard? What bastard? The second president of the Jehovah's Witnesses, man. Millions Not Living Will Never Die. I think it's brand new. I had that book in the house. To expose it, especially by pages 88 and 89, the Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob were going to return, and they never did. But forget about that. I don't want to sidetrack. But that book is as good as it's beautiful. Meaning the cover. I'm talking about the cover, the pages, the stuff like that. That's what I'm talking about. Not the stuff written and recorded inside. I mean, we do that for people that are that listen that are like that, and then we don't. And then we do. We make things new again. I mean, so I don't want to say that we never do, but not for everybody. I mean, make that manual brand as good as new. Make some beautiful charts, some computer charts, and some make it glossy and make it classy and make it hardcover or whatever the case may be. Make it nice, man. I mean, so what? Some stuff has changed. Just add your 2 cents into it, man. Goodness gracious, don't throw the baby out and the bathwater at the same time. Don't throw everything out, including the tub. I think you should be honored like that. Don't leave it like that. I mean, you just forget the guy. Julius Armenti was a great Greek scholar for decades. Goodness gracious. And it has a lot more things in order than the scholar that was his teacher. Anyway, let me see. Let me see. Tus. Okay, tus and ophthalmos. Okay, the eyes. And that's the same word recorded for every eye shall see him. You understand what I'm saying? In verse 7 of chapter 1, I believe, in the book of Revelation. Ophthalmos, actually. All right. Now, he lifted up those eyes, okay, of him. Being in, now let me see, what did I skip again? Of him, okay, Altu. Now, Altu is from Altas, and that's a third-person personal pronoun. Has gender, has case, has number, and all that jazz. You understand what I'm saying? Second-person personal pronouns like ego and su don't have that. Don't have any gender. That's kind of easy. Being, and so that's a present participle active. Being Okay, look at this. Huparchon. Huparchon is the same construction, as a matter of fact, not even a different construction. So you got Huparchon in verse 6 of chapter 2 of Philippians, and Huparchon over here. Exactly the same construction. It's not in the same construction found and recorded in verse 6 of chapter 3. You know, silver and gold have I none. Have is that the word. Let me see the lexical form. Let me see. Huparcho, and that would be the lexical form there. But it's a different construction when Peter says silver and gold have I none. Well, that's the same word, but it's in a different construction than huparchon that's recorded here and in verse 6 of chapter 2 of Philippians. You know, let me see, has and marfe theu huparchon, I believe is the clause there. And the first clause of verse 6 of chapter 2 of Philippians. You understand what I'm saying? Who being in the form of God. You see, who being in the form of God, the form being, okay, will be huparchon. Okay, you understand what I'm saying? So over here is the same construction, actually. So, So huparchon is spelled out. I love this word, by the way, huparchon, you know. And then the other word, labon, is another present participle active construction that has to do with Jesus' second nature that he took, taking the form of a dulu, of a slave or of a bondservant. You understand what I'm saying? Form will be in the accusative case. I think Marfane there would have knew in verse 7 of Philippians chapter 2. So huparchon for his first nature is subsisting in his first nature, which I call nature A or nature 1, and then labon. Labon. Did I say something else? But labon, actually taking. I don't think I even mentioned it, but anyway, labon. It has the omega and nu there. That's an active participial morpheme. Like in Haon, you know, the great Haon statement found and recorded of God, eternally existing, subsisting, if you will, you know, it's better for God, said R.C. Sproul. Huparchon, so this is wonderful right here, being in a torment. Being in torment, he sees, and that's in the present tense. He sees, and that's that harao there. No, let me see. That harao. I think that's harao. Yeah, harao, the famous harao, and hara actually there. See, he sees hara is in the present form. And then when you get to the future tense, you got ops. Okay, a completely different sem. Ops. Okay, you put the sigma there, press with the P, so you got the C, so you got ops. There for the future. So it's just completely different there. So I think I went too fast though. So this is the rich man lifting up his eyes. Let me just clarify that. And then being, okay, huparchon. So that's upsilon with the rub braiding marker says hu, not upi. Alpha with the cube marker. Ro. Don't say ro. That's very lazy for the Greeks. Chi, omega, and nu. Huparchon, being, okay, and I already told you the lexical form. In. Okay, being in, and that's N there, and then torment. So he was in torment, some kind of a torment, but it wasn't like a fire. He could still speak. This was what baffled me, and still baffles me, I guess. How can somebody be in torment have a conversation? He's having a very logical conversation, not yelling and screaming, having a very logical conversation, reasoning things out, stuff like that, disagreeing, almost having a debate with Abraham. No, but Father Abraham. I mean, you know, when you're in torture to such a degree that you can't even speak, or you can't speak. But this man can literally speak, though. He's thinking, he's speaking, I mean, he doesn't have his physical mind. He doesn't have his physical eyes, but he's still looking. So this is the thing. Remember in 1 Samuel chapter 28 and verse 13, the medium saw, Samuel coming out of the earth. And then it goes on to say that Saul said, "What is his appearance?" Well, I mean, he still had this appearance of a robe. So whatever you die in, that's the appearance you're gonna be in. Okay, all right. So that's just the deal. Now also he didn't have his physical eyeballs, but he could still yet see. So that's amazing in and of itself. And then he could still speak. And he doesn't have his voice box. He doesn't have his vocal cords. He doesn't have a mouth. Physical stuff anyway. He doesn't have any of that. He didn't have any of that. And he still doesn't have any of that. And he can still speak. Meaning Samuel. So I mean, this man doesn't have his physical eyes. I mean, that's upon the planet's surface. Okay, in a tomb someplace, and then all the rest of his body, okay, Greek or soma, he doesn't have any of that along with him in Sheol, but yet he can speak to Abraham. He can lift up his spiritual eyes, and he has no kick, like I said before in my English commentary of this section, because if he lifted up his eyes and spoke to Abraham, why didn't he lift up his eyes from his kitchen table and speak to Lazarus and invite him in the house and feed him? You understand what I'm saying? Why? See, this is the problem. He's doing a lot of stuff that he should have done, okay, you understand what I'm saying, with Lazarus. He should have spoke to Lazarus. He should have respected Lazarus. He respected Abraham, said, Father Abraham. That's respect. He didn't respect Lazarus, though. He didn't invite him in. He didn't feed him. He didn't cure him. He left him outside the gate for dogs to lick. That's disgusting. That's why he's there. He's still there. As a matter of fact, this bastard. You understand what I'm saying? Huh? He's a bastard. That's what he was. It says torment, and let me see. Torment is basa noise. Okay, torment. Basanos. Let me see. Basa noise. Sorry about that. Now, this is in the dative, the Omicron iota sigma, or just a iota sigma is pointing out that, okay, okay. So that's just it. I was just thinking of twice ties twice. So you know, the iota sigma is all across the board there. Twice ties twice in those articles there. So iota sigma is the case ending here for the data plural. Basa noise, you understand? That's spelled out Basanois. Basanois. Okay, torment. And then let's look at that word before. Let's look at that word. It's attacked by a 931 of Strong's. Let's check it out. Definition. Okay. Let me see over here. Touchstone. Let me see. A touchstone. Definition. Dark stone. Okay, used in testing metals. Let's see. Examination. Okay, by torture. Oh, this is something, huh? Torture. I mean, Don't get me wrong, this guy was suffering, but at least he could speak. I don't think that there's nobody going to be speaking in a lake of fire. That's going to be even more horrible than this. Not absence of being, but the quality of being, says Vines. Not the absence of being. I think that he was talking about a different Greek word there. He was talking about Gehenna. But nevertheless, the true statement remains. Not an absence of being, but the quality of being. Remember, the quality of being of this man was completely altered by death. No more is he dressing in purple. No more. Now, he probably was dressing in purple. Who knows? Maybe he died like that. To add insult to injury, maybe he's dressed in purple and Sheol. Okay? You understand what I'm saying? So I take that back. If he died I don't know if he died naked or if he died in his splendor. So he carried that to Sheol, absolutely, but not the real garment, but the appearance of it. If he died having that robe on or whatever the case may be, whatever fine linen he had, if he had it on, he's wearing forensics around his soul. So he can't witch whine and complain about God. Oh God, why am I here? No, look at the appearance. Look at your appearance. You died in your robe or whatever the case, in purple, as a matter of fact. So it's like purple rain. You understand what I'm saying? You're dressed in. Listen, you can't appeal. It's just like a murderer coming into court, just caught off the street with the gun in his hand. Or even like this, it's just like, right? Somebody stealing a coat, sheepskin or something like that, or whatever the case may be. He doesn't take it off. He's arrested. They don't take it off when they put him in the can, and he doesn't take it off all this time. You understand what I'm saying? He's going through the procedure of going to cut, and he still has it in court. And then he says, what he's going to say? Oh, I never stole the coat? And he has the coat on right in front of the judge. So that's probably what's happening here. He's probably, if he didn't die naked in a bathtub or something like that, you understand what I'm saying? I mean, he died with the stuff that he had, living the lifestyle that he had. So he can't which one and complain and shield. And he's probably going to carry that along into the lake of fire. So at the great white throne, he's going to have his robe on. So you can't bitch, whine, and complain and say, God, what are you doing? Why are you sending me to the lake of fire? Look at your robe. Can't you remember that you gave nothing to Lazarus and why you had that on? You see? Huh? You see? Can't bitch and whine and complain in front of God at the great right at the throne us. What's your evidence, God? The stuff you have on. But now he's going to be butt naked in the lake of fire. So I think the robe is going to, the appearance of that robe is going to be stifled by his naked body. But now, I mean, Abraham, he's looking at him, and I never thought about this before. That's why it's good to pray. He's looking at him. If he died, like Samuel died with his robe on, like that. If he looked like an old man. He said it's an older man. It's an old man. I mean, so he died in his appearance. In the appearance that he had while dying. Okay, he took it to Sheol, meaning Samuel. Well, I mean, the same thing happened to this man. So Abraham is going to look at him later on in this chapter and say, "You had your good things. As a matter of fact, you're dressed in one of the things that you used to have." And that's why there's no argument. Why isn't this man arguing with Abraham? Well, the evidence is still stark and clear. He never even argued one time. Oh, I shouldn't be here. This and that. No, go and send Lazarus and tell my brothers. I've got 5 of them, by the way, in my father's house, and tell him not to tell him to go over there so they can come here. Because if I was judged, they're going to be judged, rightly so. See. I mean, overnight, he joins the American Bible Society. You understand what I'm saying? This rich man, this bastard. You see, it's too late for that though. Moses and the prophets. All right, now it says torment, torture, basa noise. So let's go on. He sees. Okay, so that's in the present indicative active. Indicative has to do, okay, with the mood of reality. Is a mood. So you got the subjunctive mood, the imperative mood, like that. You understand what I'm saying? These are moods. So the indicative mood has to do with the mood of projected reality. When you say, "I am sick," well, that's your, that's your portrayal of reality. You can ask questions in the indicative. Okay, you can do that. You understand what I'm saying? Right? And then A has to do with the active voice. It has to do with voice. Active voice. You got the active voice, the passive voice, like that. The middle voice, like that, Now, he sees. And this is from the great Greek word harao. And that's one of my favorite words in Greek. You got harao spelled out omicron with a rough breathing marker. So you got ha. You got a rough breathing marker in Greek. You put an H sound in front of the vowel, and then you have and then even hro. You can do that with the hro also. And then you have soft breathing markers, which doesn't have any aspiration, so you don't put an H sound. That's what the rough breathing marker is, and the soft breathing marker. Aspiration or the lack of it. You understand what I'm saying? Now, so here, ro, and then alpha with the Yoda subscript. Okay, he sees. So that's just the deal. Hara, actually, in the text, hara. And over here you have harao. Okay? Harao. Now, this is third person singular, so it's not harao. I see. Okay? But I continue to see. Okay, but hara, he sees, he, she, or he, she, or it. But the context is actually talking about a rich man. So you don't say she, you say he. You understand what I'm saying? Well, let's continue to go on now. Abraham, he sees Abraham though. You see Abraham. Okay. Abraham, Abraham. Now, this is only one Abraham. There's only one Abraham in the Bible. This is Abraham. This is the Abraham of Abrahams. I don't see even another Abraham nowhere in the genealogies of Joseph and Mary. I don't see it. His name. I don't even see another Moses in the Bible. There's only one of him. Moshe in Hebrew. You understand what I'm saying? I don't see another Isaac, and I don't see another Jacob, meaning Israel. There's only one person named Israel. A couple of Jacobs I see, the Jacob of the Old Testament and the Jacob of the New. Mary's father is named Jacob. And the two Josephs. You have two Sauls. I mean, a whole bunch of Marys. And people have the name Jesus that are not Jesus. Jesus, Justice. You have Jesus found and recorded in Romans chapter 16. I mean, I think I spoke about that already, though, so I don't want to harp on that. So you got Abraham. There's only one Abraham, so this has to be Abraham. This is very important. Okay, it's going to be very important coming down the road. That's why I want to mention that. I wanted to mention that again. Preposition. Let me see here. What's this? What is this? Where's the preposition? Oh, from. So that'll be apa. Apa, from. Okay, apa. And then from. Let me see. From afar. From afar. Now he had good eyesight in hell. I'll tell you that right now. Okay, it wasn't nearsighted. I'll tell you that. Makra then. for afar. Makrathen. Makrathen. Makrathen is the lexical form, as a matter of fact, though. It's an adverb. Okay. Makrathen. TH, the data. Nothing's called theta. Okay. Makrathen. Spelled out Makro. I'm doing it from the Greek. Okay, Makrathen, and so that's just the deal. Spelled out Mu Alpha Kappa Rho Omicron Theta Epsilon Nu Alpha. I mean, he had good eyesight, man. He didn't even have his eyes. He still could see. So he probably had very good eyes, so he had no excuse. He could see Abraham afar off. It wasn't close. It was close enough to speak. But it wasn't like he was like next door. He did like 10 feet away. Remember, there was a great gulf fixed. So this gulf had to be very, very, very wide, so people won't go, to the other side from any side. Remember, there were people that wanted to go from Abraham to him and to the people there, but they couldn't go. Okay, it reminds me of the tree of life. He set cherubim, so people won't eat from that and eat in their fallen condition and live forever like that in their in a fallen state, forever. You understand what I'm saying? So God sets up these gates, these keepers. You understand what I'm saying? In order not to get to certain things, that's just a deal, or to certain people in this instance. All right. Afar off, and translating Kai. Lazarus. So you saw Abraham and Lazarus, though. Okay, and Lazarus is spelled a capital lambda, which looks like an incomplete capital A, alpha DQ marker, zeta, alpha, rho, omicron, and nu. Nowadays called omicron and ni. You understand what I'm saying? Lazarus, so he's recorded there. Now, he saw Lazarus, okay, but he wasn't talking to Lazarus, though. He wasn't talking to him. He was talking to Abraham, thinking that Abraham had some sort of authority over Lazarus to send him to his brothers. That's why he wanted to speak to him in the first place. Now, he knew it was Lazarus, so Lazarus actually also retained his form. Okay, now how did he know that was Abraham? Well, I mean, there's a word going around in West Shield that Abraham is there. And so, the place of comfort. Those probably people talking. He didn't know what Abraham looked like. Abraham died, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years before he died. If it wasn't, during Abraham's time. This could have been a Lazarus and Abraham, and this could have been. This could have been. It could have been something that happened right after Abraham died. Or you never know. I don't know. We don't know the timing of this. We don't know if this rich man knew Abraham. We don't know. It doesn't point out the time. It just gives a story about two people, but we have no idea who they were. Okay. So we don't know. I mean, maybe he knew Abraham. There's a clue coming up that might indicate maybe that, but it's just a stretch. But I still have to mention it. We don't know if these people died at the time of Jesus or at the time of Abraham. We don't know, but he knew Abraham. So it's either that he was living at the time of Abraham, or you know what I'm saying? Maybe there was the word getting around in West Hell and Tata that Abraham was hanging around in East Shield. You understand what I'm saying? Giving comfort to people that went to his bosom. You understand what I'm saying? That's probably something like that. Either or. We can't be so dogmatic. We don't know. And so Lazarus is recorded here again, and he sees. So he has to. He knows. I know this for sure. That the rich man was living at the time of Lazarus, and he recognized him. He recognized Abraham. How, I don't know, but I know this. He knew Lazarus. Lazarus was at his gate. He was looking at him every day from the house until he died. Meaning Lazarus. I mean, that's just a deal. That's just it. That's just a little across the board. So there's no excuse. I mean, he had good eyesight. You understand what I'm saying? He wasn't blind. He could see outside his house Lazarus very clearly, just like he saw far off in Sheol. He retained his eyesight in Sheol. He retained it. Or he saw far off. I wasn't close. So if he retained it, that means he could see, okay, all right, when he was upon the planet surface in his house, in his father's house, by the way. So he had no excuse. He had no kick coming to him. He could see. And that's why he's in hell right now. There's no fear of God before their eyes. You understand what I'm saying? I was hungry, and you gave me nothing. You see? That's just the deal. I was thirsty, you didn't give me the drink. I was sick, and you didn't even visit me at the gate. You see, I was right outside your gate. You didn't even come to see me. I was naked. You didn't give me nothing to be dressed in. You understand what I'm saying? But yet you had purple on. You understand what I'm saying? Like a king. I had nothing. Just dogs licking me and stuff like that. That's a disgusting disgrace. You understand what I'm saying? There are people like that now. Oh, with the middle class in America, the middle class, these disgusting people. I mean, the poor. And over here in the Philippines, the poorest of the poor. People look down at the Philippines because they're poor. Look down. You know, richest country in America. And people bitch and whine and complain because, why we have to share our goods and share our money with poor people around the world. See, this is the problem. You know, compared to God, you're poor. You ain't got nothing. You're not going to bring nothing into eternity. You understand what I'm saying? Including your poor. You see? That's just a problem. So the way Lazarus, so he still has his name in, and that's translating N again. And then that's just it, in the bosom. So he saw Lazarus in the bosom. He'll be called upon there, same one found and recorded, okay, in the famous scripture, John chapter 1 verse 18, the bosom or the chest of the Father. That is twice, and that'll be either either in the neuter, or the article, or in the masculine, okay, or yeah, twice like that. And then bosom is, or chest is kalpan. Actually, that's the lexical form, kalpan, but kalpo is there in the kalpas actually with a sigma, and kalpois the data plural, masculine plural, by the way. Okay. So it was in his chest of him. Okay, so that's just it. Alto. Okay. So Lazarus, man, he's having the time of his life. He doesn't have to worry about sores, about pain, about nothing like that. Dogs licking him and stuff like that. Dying again. Not having any food. Now, I don't know how they ate in Sheol. I mean, meaning the redeemed. Did they eat? Did they have to eat? Did they have anything to eat? The spiritual existence is an existence. It is. You can't say it's physical, but spiritual physical. Okay? Just because you're a spirit, or a soul, it doesn't mean that you're nothing. You do have substance. You do have something. You do have stuff. It's just not the same stuff that was made here. But you do have stuff, though. You understand what I'm saying? The stuff of God. Okay? I mean, that's just the deal. Now, did they eat? I don't know. Many will come to me. Many will come into the kingdom, and eat at Abraham's table or something like that, or whatever the case may be. Right? I don't want to butcher the scriptures, Is that in chapter 8 of Matthew or chapter 9? There's going to be some eating. I mean, I won't drink this. I won't drink any more of the fruit of the vine until, I drink it anew with you in the kingdom of my Father, like that. I mean, there's some eating that's going on in heaven, right? That was in the upper room discourse, by the way, by Jesus. And let me see. Let me see. So this is the next verse. And he, kai autos, so that's an nominative. And he, having cried out, they haven't cried out. Now we know that this is the rich man. Abraham is not crying out. Okay, the rich man has to be crying out because Lazarus didn't even say anything during this whole ordeal. Lazarus was quiet. Abraham was talking to him. It was going back and forth. It was a debating campaign. That's just the deal, right? Having, cried out. That has to be some sort of participle, and it is. Aorist, a participle active construction. Ponesas, actually. Ponesas. You know what I'm saying? Ponesas. That's spelled out a P, Omega, Nu, Eta, Sigma, Alpha, and Sigma. It's not only that. You got a case ending here. You got nominative masculine singular form. So that's just a deal. Now, having he lifted up his eyes, and now he's crying out. He's cried out and said, a pen. That's an aorist tense. A pen. It's an aorist tense. You understand what I'm saying? From epo. I say. This is third person. He said. A pen. You understand what I'm saying? Found and recorded a lot for God speaking to Adam, speaking to Eve, Chawa in the Hebrew for Eve. You understand what I'm saying? Adam, it's still the same. Adam, all across the board. That's Hebrew. Adam. Apen. Father. Okay, so what do you say? Father. This is a great sign of respect. Pater. This is a vocative. That's why it says V over there. The noun vocative. So that's just the deal. This is the vocative of the case of a direct address. There's only one use. The case of direct address, says Julius Armenti, vocative masculine singular construction. Vocative. Father Abraham. It says over here. What is the paradigm for father, if I can remember it? Pater, patras. Let me get to the accusative patera. I think the dative is patri, I would say, right? Patri. I think that's the case. No pun intended, There's always here, Abraham, Father Abraham. Okay. This is cried out. Now, remember that he was afar off, so at least he was close enough to be heard. But he had to cry out. He had to raise up his voice. You understand what I'm saying? He didn't whisper to Abraham. He raised up his voice. I mean, he cried out. You understand what I'm saying? Everybody is as close to. This is not an exclusive hotel that the rich man was in. Wasn't. I mean, he didn't have. You know what I'm saying? A shield to himself. Other people are hearing this conversation. That's not drawn out also in Bible studies. Other people are hearing this conversation. People on both sides that are close enough to hear anyway. Because you have billions and billions and billions of people, so not everybody's going to hear. Not everybody is at the same spot. Okay? You have hundreds of billions of people by that time in Sheol. Okay? So, I mean, but there were people hearing this conversation, this debate. You understand what I'm saying? So that was going back and forth and being heard, okay, by people in close up proximity of the both of them. Have mercy on what? It says over here, Eleazar. This is a what is this? Is this an imperative? I mean, it's just wait for a wait. Well, hold on here. This is alpha. This is an AMA construction, a aorist imperative active. I want to make sure. This I want to make sure of. Okay. This is aorist, as it says. Let's see. Yeah, imperative. Just want to make sure. This is imperative. Okay, have mercy. This is a mood of command. He's actually commanding Abraham to the treaty. Okay, fine, but still. He's commanding Abraham to have mercy on him. He's commanding, though. This is a mood of command. You understand what I'm saying? It's just a treaty. Okay, fine, but it's just a deal. But command. You know what I mean? This is not a subjunctive, exhortation. He's not exhorting Abraham to do this and to do that. I mean, he's commanding him, though. It's just a deal. But he was used to doing that upon the planet service, commanding this and commanding that, commanding servants and slaves and stuff. He was used to that. He thought it was the same deal in Sheol. Hey, have mercy on me. Well, why? Did you have mercy on Lazarus? See, this is the problem. Did he have mercy on Lazarus? No. There's no mercy in Sheol. You understand what I'm saying? Until Jesus went down and had mercy, at least spoke the gospel to the Floodanites. I mean, that's just a deal. I mean, he didn't have mercy on it. He didn't have mercy on Lazarus. I'm just listen. Have mercy on me. Come on, man. You got to be joking. Have mercy on me. And me is meh. It's not emphatic, by the way. It's not eme, but anyway, meh. And that's from the ego mu moi me paradigm. I is ego, of me, or whatever the case may be, is mu. To me, with me, in me, by me, whatever the case may be, is moi. And then you have me, and that's accusative. Have mercy upon me. By the way, not have mercy upon anybody else. See how selfish he still is? There's people there close to him in Sheol. But he says, have mercy on me. He doesn't say have mercy on us. That will be Hamas. He doesn't use Hamas. He uses meh. He's still selfish. He's thinking about himself. There's people, they're along, in the same bus that he's in. You understand what I'm saying? And he's still selfish. He's still thinking about himself. He's not even asking Abraham to help everybody else that's around, all the people that's around him. You know what I'm saying? You understand what I'm saying? No, him, me, my brothers. Not their brothers. I mean, there's people along with me that I gotten to know here in Shield. I mean, but don't forget about them. Me, my. See? Still selfish, right? He retains his selfishness. Yeah? Selfishness, you understand what I'm saying? Me. Everything's me. And, you know what that's translating, right? Sen, look at this. I mean, come on, man. Pempo is actually the Greek word here, right? Let me see. Pempo. That's the lexical form. Pempo. And then sen is actually, pemson. That's an imperative. He's using imperative. He's using the mood of command all the way through this conversation. Pemson. Spelled out P epsilon mu psi. Well, that's the PS letter in Greek. Is actually the weapon. That's the pitchfork of the weapon in the hand of the false god Poseidon, the god of the sea. That's why it's a psi. It's shaped like that, like a trident. You ever saw that martial art movie Mask Avengers? Well, it's the same deal happening in that movie. Pitchforks. They were fighting with pitchforks all across the board in that movie, and that's the and it's 46% left on the phone, so I don't have to worry about this being cut off in any way, shape, or form. Thank God. That's why I was looking at it, because yesterday it cut off our study. Because it went below 5%, it went to 5%, and then when it goes below 5%, it dims out, and then it stops. So I don't want that to happen this time, That's a motorcycle, guys, in the background here. Okay, at Pemson. Okay, send. Okay. Now, let me tell you about this, Greek-wise. This is what happened to me in America. Setting aside the rich man for now, which was he wasn't rich in hell, he was rich in torment. I bought New Testament Greek manuscripts, and it's a volume that contains, like one volume, let's say, is the Gospel of John, and then let's say verse 1 will be written out in Greek, but like different readings of of different manuscripts. You know what I mean? So on one line it'll be one manuscript, and then the other line will be another manuscript, and another, like that, Like, for example, when Jesus had to pray to him, 14:14 of John, and there's different readings of it, there's just the different readings. So you have like 14 different lines or whatever it was that has just, like it's in Greek. It's all in Greek, so you have to know your stuff. You have to, but this was confusing me. When I got to, let me see, what was it? I think it was John chapter 17, verse 3. Okay, there was, there was the word for sent, but it wasn't pempo. It was a whole bunch of, it was another one. But then there was one line, there was a variant reading, there was a different reading from everything else. And then, but it was a piece of it. A piece of the word pempo, and I said I couldn't figure it out. I said I think it's only like 3 letters in a piece of a letter or something like that. And I said I can't figure this out. What is this? What is this word that is incomplete? It's just in bits and pieces. It's just like a damaged manuscript, like that, And then when I read, when I went to Revelation chapter 22, verse 16, all right, the angel that I sent, said Jesus. That's the word there. That's the word recorded in that variant reading line, and that's pempo there. And so that manuscript, and I forgot the manuscript, I mean, I don't have it with me, New Testament Greek manuscripts, the Gospel of John, edited and arranged by Reuben Swanson and edited by the great Greek scholar Bruce N. Metzger. I don't have that with me, so I can't tell you the manuscript that has that variant reading of it says who thou hast sent into the world. So it has an extra clause, a set of words attached to what we know, John chapter 17 verse 3. So it has another clause there. Who thou hast sent into this world, and the sent, okay, is pempo, and it's probably sort of the same construction a little bit, but a second person, so it has to be a little bit different though. But that really confused me. I mean, and it bothered me for a while. I just couldn't. It had a couple of letters, but it's obvious now, that it's pempo that is being used in that variant reading in John chapter 17 verse 3. And pempo is here, ascend, but this is an imperative. Okay, pempsan. So that's just the deal. Now this is second person singular, and that's why Mounds couldn't give you, okay, a imperative morpheme on the chart. He has a question mark because of this problem. There is so many variant, like different morphemes for the second person singular. Okay, you can't boil it down to one big lump like tolte tosa. You can't do that. So that's why he has nothing there. He has a question mark there. Okay. So that's just the deal. You just can't put epsilon there. So anyway, send Lazarus. Oh, come on, man. Send Lazarus. Come on, man. Come on, stop with that. Send Lazarus that he might dip that, and that's hina. Now, when you're trained in Greek, you're trained to look at a hina, okay, and possibly see a subjunctive with a few exceptions in the Greek New Testament. A subjunctive is coming probably. No pun intended, probably, the mood of probability and possibility, So the subjunctive in English is like the if, then, or may, or might. I might go to the store. Well, you're using a subjunctive there, So that's the may and might, and the if and then, and all this protestants and apodictis in Greek and stuff like that. That's just that. Okay, hina. There you go, hina. So you look for subjunctive. He might dip. He might dip. Okay, and that's and they bapse. Okay, bapse sounds like baptize, right? Okay, so bapto, actually dip, and that's a part of the meaning of to baptize. That's just as part of the meaning, to immerse, identify, basically. But he might dip. He might dip. Bapse. Okay, this is an aorist subjunctive active. Third person singular. That he might dip. Okay, the tip. Okay, and that's a singular article ta with an omicron. So let's check this out. What this is going to be here. Dip is akran for dip. Okay. So alpha kappa rho omicron nu. I wonder if it's the same word found and recorded for the dipping of the morsel or whatever at the last supper. Maybe something that Judas did. I'm not sure. I don't have that in front of me. Of the finger. Okay, of the is two. That's a genitive article in the masculine and in the neuter side of the paradigm. Their 24 article paradigm. Finger is says over here daktulu. Daktulu is in the genitive of the finger. Okay, daktulu. Of him. Okay, autu, that's in the genitive. Finger of him. Genitive of the description, genitive of possession. I mean, you have to stay a while, analyze that. In water. Now, that's a genitive of place. Okay, that's easy. That's a genitive of place in water. Okay, hudatas. Okay, that's usala with a rough reading and a Q marker. So who, and then I got delta, alpha, tau, omicron, final sigma. Hudatas in water. Okay, and cool, and so that's ka tapsukse, ka tapsukse. That's hard to. You know, I wonder why Mount said that they don't like hiatuses, because there's hiatuses all over the place in the Greek New Testament. The Greeks. Okay. I mean, if this is not a hiatus, I mean, I don't know what it is. Hiatus is like the the t and all this other stuff, or whatever the case may be. Man, this is worse than that. Let me see what it is. It says over here, ka taps sukse. I mean, that's hard to say, man. You got a C and a C here. Cool. Just for a little word, cool. I mean, goodness gracious. And that's just the deal. Okay, and that's tain. That's feminine. That's easy feminine article in the accusative side of the singular paradigm. Tongue. Okay. Glosson. And it's the same Greek word found and recorded. And every tongue shall confess. In Philippians chapter 2, and also the Greek Septuagint version of Isaiah chapter 45, around verse 23, something like that, or verse 22, where glossa is also found over there. Okay, of me. Okay, and that's mu. Still not emphatic, by the way. Mu. For hati. Okay, hati. For I am suffering in. Now, is that a participle? No, but it's still continuous because that's in the present here. That's continuous, though. You have to make sure. Present indicative middle passive form. So it's being done to him the torture. I am suffering in, and that's and again. Now, I am suffering. That's adunomai. I am suffering. Adunomai. Now the my is the personal ending here. That's the personal ending. This is not an oh my word. It's an alpha contract verb. Alpha contract. Okay. Adunao. Alpha contract verb. Okay. You know, the alpha is pressed with another word and it changes. The omicron is pressed with another letter, I should say, and it changes. Omicron is pressed with another letter and it changes. Vowels are pressed together, like epsilon and whatever the case may be, and it changes like that. Alpha contract verbs. This contract verb, this is. I'm speaking like Yoda, you know. So, my English is being broken in the Philippines, you know what I'm saying, little by little. Adu no mai. So the mai, so you know, from my side Thai, metastatin Thai, like that. So this is being done to him. Okay, he's not doing it to himself. That'll be in the middle. It's being done to him. That's the passive. Okay. So that's just it. This is sad though. This is sad. I know he deserves to be there, but this is still sad though, because he's still there now for 2,000 years or whatever it is. In is the preposition there. Preposition shows the relationship that two words has together. Okay, so in the flame. Now, flame is te. That's an article, both in the masculine and in the neuter. Okay. So, te from the do side of the paradigm. This is a noun, flame. Floggy. And that's in the dative. The iota cannot subscribe underneath the gamma, so it's written after the gamma. That's pointing out the dative case in this word. Floggy. This is the same word found and recorded for the angels being ministers of fire. Found and recorded in, I think, verse 7 of chapter 1 of Hebrews. It's the same Greek word, and pure is added there also. Fire. Flame of fire, this, and that's tute. That's from hutas. That's easy. That's a demonstrative pronoun. This, a kanos, is a demonstrative pronoun that means that, and then that's just the deal. So he's talking about his torture, and isn't that different from the existence that he had upon the planet's surface of living in purple and in splendor and in luxury and in fine linen and in food and in probably a very big house and a palace, having brothers along with him and stuff like that. You understand what I'm saying? Not being sick. I mean, this is a different set of conditions, or actually this was. Let me just change that. That was, I should say. This was. Now that was. Okay. Now it said apen. Okay, that's an AIA. Aorist indicative active construction in past time. Then, okay, de. So that's the post-positive. Abraham. Okay, a child. This is the coup de grace. This is the key. This child, this Greek word, okay, teknon, tells me that he either was a rich man, either was a Jew or an Arab. This word teknon. Abraham could not have used this word, okay. Now he was probably speaking still in Aramaic, whatever the case may be, but still, he could not have used, okay, it's reported in Greek, so I'll just stay with the Greek. He could have not used this Greek word, okay, teknon, without having some sort of relationship, father-wise, with this man. He had to be a Jew or an Arab. He could not have been a Gentile. Because if he said child to a Gentile, the Gentile would have been saved. He wouldn't have been there in the first place. Okay? He had to be either like Isaac was to him, a Jew, or Ishmael was to him, an Arab. The father of the Jews actually was Abraham, but Ishmael also is in that sort of notoriety. You understand what I'm saying? So that's just the deal. Even Arabs trace back Abraham to be their father. Okay? Abraham. Child, teknon, spelled out, capital tau. Now they call tough. Epsilon kappa nu omicron nu. Teknon, this is a very strong term. He says child. Now, knowing Abraham, he probably said it. Man, I hate to say this, but sadness. Can there be sadness in paradise? Has to be some sort of sadness in paradise for those folks, because people wanted to come from Abraham to the other side, and that's why God set that gulf, not only for the unrighteous not to sneak into to paradise, but also for the other side not to get into the other side. It was to keep the two sides from crisscrossing. Okay, according to the evidence here that's coming up. Let's see. Let's go on. You did fully receive. You see, your time is up. You have fully received. Ape labes. And the epsilon there is pointing out the aorist. That's an augment. Okay. Labes. You see? Ape labes. From Abba lambano. See? That word is lambano is actually it's labon there, and it's a PPA, a present participle active construction found in verse 7 of chapter 2 of Philippians. Labon, the omega nu, pointing out the active is the active morpheme there in the participial system, along with other ones, like nu tau and omicron tau. He did receive, he did take. Fully. Man, did he take. Man, did he take it. He took food, he took clothes, and he didn't share. That's the difference. It's not money that's evil. Or Jesus would have never taken money from his followers. It's the love of money that's the root of all evil. Now I wonder if that the root, the word there for root in that statement by the Apostle Paul is the word chrysa. But anyway, with an H. Let me see. You did fully receive alpha p epsilon lambda alpha beta epsilon sigma. Is that what I'm saying? AIA. Construction errors indicative active. You fully received. You received your comfort already, man. I'm not going to comfort you again. You're going to get no comfort. That's just a deal. Now says Abraham, right? Really, basically, it says over here, the things, and things is not here. The things good is actually the good in Greek, the good ta, and that's what an alpha says. So anything that's coming up is going to be in the plural, right? Same construction for the nominative and the accusative ta, in that side of the article paradigm. Agata, good. Agata, alpha, gamma, alpha, theta, alpha. Got 3 alphas here. Agata. Okay, you received the good, or in brackets things, of you, su, for the su soy se paradigm. This is in the genitive. Let me see. Now, what did I do here? Su. Let me just get rid of that. Did I get rid of it? No. Did I? No. Okay. I just poked something, and you have to be careful. Of you. Your good things. And this translating in the lifetime, in your lifetime. Te, and it'll be in the dative. Okay, zoe. Zoe is the dative construction, dative feminine singular. Okay, a lifetime. Zoe. Okay, Zoe means life. By the way, I can't not mention this. Zoon is found and recorded, I think, let me see. I don't know if it's chapter, it might be chapter 6 though, but anyway, Revelation chapter 5 or 6, something like that. And as living creatures over there, where Jesus is not called a living creature, I think it's in chapter 5, might be chapter 5, and Zoon is there. That's called living creatures. Jesus is not called Zoon anywhere in the Bible. He's called the Lamb there, okay, and I think that's in chapter 5. Lamb, okay, but he's not called Zoon, living creature. He's not a creature. You know what I'm saying? That's Zoon there. That's a participle, I think, Zoon there, and the Omega Nu is pointing that out in that construction in I think Revelation chapter 5 about the living creatures of you, and okay, Lazarus, okay, Likewise, and that's that's hamoios. Likewise, hamoios, Lazarus. Okay, let me see. Wait, that's the same thing right there. The kaka. See the kaka. What's kaka? Well, it's evil. See, he thinks evil. He thinks evil, or he received evil things. Ta is the plural, and you have kaka here. Evil. Kaka is evil or bad in Greek. Now, okay, noon. Okay, now, however, and that's there. That's translated first, postpositive. Okay, here, hode. That's an adverb. Here, okay, hode. He is comforted. Okay, and that's para kaletai. Now he's being comforted. He's not comforting himself. This is a third person primary passive personal ending, okay? Tai. My side tai. My is, first person. Sai is second person. And then you have the tai. You understand what I'm saying? Like in S-tai. He will be to me a son, S-tai. Right? S-tai is in the future, though. S-omai is, I will be to him, right? And that's recorded in, verse 5 or 6 of chapter 1 of Hebrews. But that's a personal ending in the passive, though, a middle passive. This is a middle passive personal ending. Okay, para ka le tai, para ka le tai. From the Greek parakaleo. So this is an epsilon contract verb. Okay? So he's being comforted. This is being done to him. He is comforted. You understand what I'm saying? Now this is by God. This is God, God is in control of Sheol. He designed this place. You have to understand. This is not Abraham getting the credit, comforting this man that just got in. You understand what I'm saying? No. It's God. And you, it says over here, su, this nominative. You now, okay, de. Now you'll translate it like that, are suffering. And that is a present indicative middle passive second singular construction. Okay. Are suffering. Aduna sai. Okay, aduna sai. Now he's talking to him, so this is sai. This is second person singular. He's talking to him. Okay, so it's not my first person. It's not tai third person, but it's sai. Okay, you understand? So that's just it. And then it says besides. Okay, and that's n. See, this is the problem. The preposition doesn't mean only in. Besides, you understand what I'm saying? But let's continue. Besides all, and that's posse. And that's in the dative posse. This is actually this is in the this is this. Okay. This is adjective here, and it says these things two toys, and that's hutas from hutas paradigm. Posse. Now this isn't plural though. Okay, this is obviously posse. That's in a plural dative construction. Okay, Ponti is actually in the singular. So you got pas, pantas, panti, and panta. This is paradigm. Pantan. Pas because it was actually pont, and the sigma pressed against the tau, making that dental drop off, and then the liquid drop off. As a matter of fact, also they fell into trap doors, and then and the nominative is pas, but this is dative though. Okay, these things. Okay, two toys, and that's in the dative, plural. Okay, also between us. Okay, between us. And that's a preposition here. Metazu, I should say, sorry. Metazu. Okay, mu epsilon tau, epsilon kasi, upsilon. Between us, and the us is actually hemon. That's in the genitive. Okay, between us. Okay, Hemes, Hemon, Hemin, Hemas, like that. And you, that's humon. That's second person, not first person. That's second person. Humon, humes, humon, humin, humas. Okay, very similar. It's just one letter is different. A chasm, great, and mega for great, and chasm is actually chasma. Reminds me of the Grand Canyon. I mean, God set up the Grand Canyon between those guys. You understand what I'm saying? So nobody will cross over. Has been fixed by whom? Has been fixed by God. See, God is the creator of S.H.I.E.L.D. Don't get it twisted. He created S.H.I.E.L.D. You understand what I'm saying? He put all these the comforts greater than the comforts of home in paradise in S.H.I.E.L.D. Greater than the torch I found upon earth in West S.H.I.E.L.D. And he made a schism, a chasm, a gulf. You understand what I'm saying? He set that up. He knew that people were gonna go to the other side. Like, listen, if that canyon wasn't there, okay, they would have been crisscrossing. Okay, so I mean, so it has been fixed, and that's in the perfect tense. Okay, has is a good keyword to use. Imperfect, indicative, middle passive. Okay, has been fixed, and that's okay. Let's see. This lexical form is sterizo, rictai. So I believe that the kappa is the tense, perfect tense morpheme, kappa, and then you have the tie there as your personal passive ending. Okay, so that's just the deal, and that's just a deal across the board. I think over there. Oops. And so that, or hapos, so that those, and that's hoi, so the article is being translated into those, like a pronoun. Okay. Desiring, okay, let me see. Desiring, that's a great thing. Desiring, and that's Lantes, and that's a participle. There's no doubt about that. I don't even have to look up there. The PPA up there, but do you see the case ending, the epsilon sigma? Okay, and obviously that's nominal. It's a plural construction there, case ending, and then you have like Pontes, and then you have the new tau active morphine there, the connecting vowel omicron there before that. So you see the whole setup there. You see the new tau there, active personal ending, and then and everything across the board. There's no doubt from Thelo, right? Let me see, Thelo. Thelo, okay. So that's the word. I desire it. I will be thou clean. Thelo is was used by our precious Lord when he spoke to the leopard. Lord, if you will, Othello, if you will, thou can make me clean. And I will, Othello, be thou clean. And he was cleansed. You see? Othello, I will. See? Othello. Now, it is said in the scriptures that the Trinity all have a will. See, that's why there's a distinction in persons. They all have a will. They all have a mind. Okay? So that's just it. You see, Bulatai for the will of the Holy Spirit in dispensing the gifts according to 1 Corinthians chapter 12, around verse 11, something like that. So he's a person. He's not an it. He's not a force. How can a force dispense gifts to the kirk? You understand what I'm saying? To the church. Those desiring. So that's just a deal. Desiring to pass. See, that's the thing, to pass. Be nigh, to pass. And that's an infinitive. And how can you tell this is an infinitive? The nigh. The nigh is an infinitive morpheme. Okay? Aorist active infinitive morpheme. This is a infinitive, a verbal noun, an infinite noun, if you will, not like a defective noun like ain, found and recorded in John 1 and John 1:2. Ain, From here, and that's and then from here to you, and now be a pros humas, and so that's easy. That's a humas, and that's the last in the paradigm there, the humas, the humes paradigm. That's accusative humas, and not, and that's may. So you're outside of the indicative. Okay. Now you have a subjunctive coming up. Are able. Okay. One of my favorite words in Greek. Dunontai. And then the omega is pointing out the subjunctive there. I believe the omega is there. Just like the eta could also. Do non-tai. Okay? So that's just it, though. Now the untai is a third person plural, the untai there. So you got tai for the third person singular and untai for the third person plural. Personal ending, passive personal ending, by the way, middle passive personal ending. And no, okay, so you got mede, no, so you're gonna be outside the indicative. From there, you have a k, then from there to, and that's pros. It's always gonna take the accusative pros. Always, there's no other case that it takes. Okay, us, and that'll be humas, right? See. Humas, us, can they pass? You see, Diaperosin. Diaperosin. And that's a subjunctive. Omega there is a present subjunctive active. Okay, so that's just it. Perosin. Dia perosin. Perosin. The omega is pointing out the subjunctive there. Like in poiesomen, that famously recorded in two scriptures that I can remember. Some Septuagints has it in verse 26, chapter 1 of Genesis. Let us make man in our image. Well, that's not aseh, Adam in Hebrew, but in the Greek Septuagint, at least some Greek Septuagints, not all, has poiesomen. That's an aorist subjunctive there. And omega is used there, poiesomen. Poiesomen. And the men is pointing out the plurality of it all, first person plural, men there. And that's the same construction found on recorded, I believe, in verse 5, I think, of chapter 9 of Mark. Okay? Peter used it. He used it with Jesus. He said, when he was addressing Jesus, he said, Lord, it's good for us to be here. Let us make. It's the same construction. Okay? Same construction. Let us make. Okay? Let us make. ASA. I think that's aorist subjunctive active also. Same construction anyway. Found recorded for Peter saying that too. You know, the Trinity was involved in that conversation. Okay, one of the members of the Trinity said that to the other two members of the Trinity, according to Genesis chapter 1, verse 26. And Peter uses it in the New Testament, addressing Jesus. Okay, so where's the plurality and majesty there? It's the same construction that Peter used. Let us make. You understand what I'm saying? That's just a deal. So let us make 3 tabernacles. One for you, one for Moshe, and one for Elijah. So that's just the deal. But getting back to this, okay. Let me see. Where am I at? Apen. Then said. Okay. Then said, I implore you. You see, I implore you. You see? I implore you. Eroto. I implore you. This is not an imperative, but I implore you. Okay, I implore you. Okay, let me see here. Then, Father, that, okay, un for then, Father is pater, and that is hina. So a subjunctive might be coming up. No pun intended, might. You would send. And this is a subjunctive, ASA. Okay, they go pempo again, pempses. Okay, you got the eta there, which is pointing out the subjunctive in this word. Pempses. Okay? And that's second person. That's second person. Second person singular, as a matter of fact. Would send, okay, would send him, auton, to Lazarus, meaning to, and that's ace, to the house, ton, oikon, to the house, oikon is Greek for house, of the, to Father. Okay, probably Mu is there of me. He's not talking about Father Abraham. He's talking to Father Abraham, but he's talking about his father's house. Okay, patras, and that's in a genitive. Patras there. Of me, and that's Mu. Okay. So that's very stark that that was his father's house that he was living in, or actually, maybe not he was living in, but that maybe his brothers were living in, like that. Maybe he had his own house set apart from all that stuff. I have four, and so you translate four first, Gar. I have as echo, okay, echo, echo. Um, I have as in Hebrew is Yeshli. I have a brother and a sister, Yeshli ach ve'achot. I have is actually Yeshli in Hebrew. Echo here, five. Okay. Pente, that's where you get the word Pentagon. Pentagon, the government building in the States. Pentagon comes from this. Okay? You understand what I'm saying? Pente, five. Okay, and from Pente, five. Pentecost is actually 50. The day of Pentecost is 50. Actually, you understand what I'm saying? Brothers, Adelphus, and that's in the accusative case. That's very easy to detect. Adelphus, five brothers. I have five brothers, man. So that, and then Hapos actually, so that he might warn. He might warn the martu retai, and that's a subjunctive there. The eight was proving that middle passive construction there. Personal ending is tai, and so he's talking in third person there. And this is in the present subjunctive, middle passive form. Yeah, present tense stem there. He might warn. Did they get warned though? Is it the same word? Warn? Yeah, that's all in one package. Warn them. And so that's autois, and that's in the dative plural. Autois from the autos paradigm. That in hina, so another subjunctive might be coming. It's a lot of subjunctives here. That's not and may are outside of the indicative also, and that's kai. They, and that's autoi, and that's a nominative form. Autoi might, and this is the subjunctive right here, aorist subjunctive active form, might come to, and so that's el sin. So the omega is pointing out the subjunctive there, but the hina did it brilliantly also. Okay, ace two, not to be confused with haze. Okay, that haze means one. Okay, the place. Okay, the place is tan tapan. Tan tapan, isn't it? Both of the accusative. It's just like na'an. Is there an article there? Tan na'an? But anyway, na'an means temple there in verse 19 of chapter 2 of the Gospel Kata Yohan and John. All of that is in the accusative. Tutan, Autan, this and it. Those are all in the temple, all in the accusative case. Limiting the resurrection of Jesus to the body that he had as a birthday suit while he was speaking, as a matter of fact, okay? So that's just a deal. The case of limitation as to extent. Okay, the place, this, and that's Teuton. There you go. Teuton. Taste is not translated here. I don't believe so. And then of torture, of torment, and we saw that Basanu, of torture, place of torture. Genesis probably a description of torture. Says lege, from the lego leges lege paradigm. Says, however, Abraham. This is a debate. Abraham, they have echuse, third person plural. Echuse. This is a present indicative active form. They have, Abraham, they have, let me see, wait for a second. Abraham, let me just, they have Moshe in Hebrew, Moshe. They have Moses, Mousea. Now, that word inflects. A lot of words, a lot of names in the genealogy of Jesus does not inflect. Okay? When it comes to Mary, and then the genealogy of Joseph, a lot of those words don't inflect. They have no inflection. So, but Moses' name does inflect though. Okay. So Mousea, and that's in the accusative case. Accusative masculine singular. And the prophets. Yeah, Moses and the prophets, and that's two, and that's in the accusative plural. Prophets. Yeah, Moses and the prophets, man. Prophetas. Moses and the prophets. Let them hear. Now, this is very interesting. This is an imperative. So, let them hear. Let is a key word to use in that translation, English translation. Aku, that's the hearing part of the word. That contains the word for hear, the meaning of hear. Aku, like acoustics, like that. Aku sa tosan. Okay, and so this is an imperative. This is a mood of command that Abraham is using, to address the rich man. Them, let them hear them. I'll tone. Let them hear them, and I'll tone is in the genitive plural. Okay. This is third person personal pronoun. Let them hear them. So the only way that you're going to believe is by the scriptures. Faith coming by hearing and hearing the word of God. You understand what I'm saying? If you're normal in every single degree, you have to come to faith by the word of God. By somebody preaching it to you, by you reading it, or whatever, or hearing it, or whatever the case might, faith coming by hearing and hearing the word of God or the word of Christ. Different manuscripts. Okay. Then he goes, let me see here. And that's there. Let me see. And I think I just, it just froze my phone, just froze though on me. I think I'm going to have to stop the recorder. He said, no. See, he's always debating Abraham, man. He said, no, uche. I can't say it. I have to close I have to clear my throat. Uche. There you go. Okay, you understand what I'm saying? Couldn't say it. Apen said, and he said, Apen, Aris farm, Uchi, no. Okay, unfroze, thank God. What you wanting and complaining, man? I mean, Abraham is saying what it is, and he's just disagreeing with it. I mean, he said, "Shield, shut up, shut up, and agree." You can see that this guy was a strong. He was pig-headed. I mean, he was pig-headed on top of the planet surface. He's pig-headed in the heart of the earth. But this, but that, no this, no that, but Father, Pater, Father Abraham, Father Abraham. You know what I'm saying? But see, Alpha Lambda Lambda Alpha. I'm sorry, Alpha Lambda Lambda. That's an abbreviation for Alpha Lambda Lambda Alpha, but very strong. This conjunction here is much more stronger than just a simple and. This is not found in John 1:1. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, but the Word was not God. No, that's not found there. No, it's not. That's not. If, and that's aeon, subjunctive might be coming, might, no pun intended, one or tis, tis from, Appa, the dead, and that being necron. See, that's why I said that Jesus was raised from the dead. He was raised from the dead ones. He was. I don't want to say raised. He was lifted, or extracted, or taken out spiritually out of Sheol. He was raised from Sheol. I understand that, but you might misunderstand and think that it might be a spiritual resurrection of life again. Meaning that the spirit died and had to be raised. It had to be raised to life again. No, that's not what I'm saying. That's why I avoid raised at that junction. Extracted from Sheol, I like that better. But I mean, raised. That's just the deal. From the dead ones. Okay, necron. Dead is in a plural, just like fish can be in a plural. Okay. You understand what I'm saying? It's just a deal. Now, so let me see. Should go, and see, that's the subjunctive. Aeon was a sort of like it's just a small indicator that a subjunctive might be coming up, just like kina, and just like on could do also alpha nu. Poru the, and the eta there. Is pointing out the subjunctive, poruthe, in this word. That's how you can tell this is on the subjunctive, by that eta morpheme. Paruomai, and this is an omai word, actually. This is an omai word. Go to and pros, so that's going to take the accusative, whatever is coming up. Them, so that's autus, and that's an accusative plural. They will repent. So they will repent if somebody is raised from the dead. Meta says this rich man. Meta no susin. Okay. And that's in the future. Future tense. Future indicative active construction. So the second to I think the second to last sigma there, is the future tense morpheme, not the last one. That's part of the personal ending, I believe. Okay, so that's the second to last sigma is what's shaping this into be in the future tense, like the word stesatai. He will arise. It's the same thing found in the Septuagint there. The sigma is being used there. It's stesatai in verse 3 of chapter 5 of some Greek Septuagints when it has to do with Micah. Okay. Now, I think this is the last verse of verse 31. He said, okay, apen, okay, however, and that's translating there, to him, meaning to the rich sinner. Okay, auto. Okay, Abraham is speaking. If, so it's subjunctive is probably coming up, and that's a. If Moses, okay, seos, and the prophets, okay, the prophets, I went through that construction already. Not, and that's uk, they hear, okay, kuusin, okay, present indicative active, kuusin, and that's in the third person plural. Usi is the personal ending there, right? Okay. Not even if, not, and that's ood there. Not even if is aeon, one or tis, out from ek, probably necron, coming up, the dead, okay, and that's necron, should rise. Okay, that's a ASA, and that's a subjunctive. And the word for rise is ana right there. That's a preposition. And stay there, and that's like I will say, it's desensitized. It's sort of the same thing. Eta there is shaping this into the subjunctive, eta. Ana stay. See? Ana stay. Will they be persuaded? Will they be convinced? In other words, you understand what I'm saying? This isn't future. Future indicative passive. Okay? Third person, plural. And peste santai. And then the sigma there, the last sigma is the future transformative, putting this into the future. So, I mean, that's it. I mean, people could rise from the dead all they want. So Jesus rose from the dead and people didn't believe him. They don't believe him now. He rose from the dead. 500 people saw him at one glance. You know, and now all have fallen asleep. They still don't believe. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I could raise somebody from the dead right now, and people will believe for a little while in Don Pedro here in the Philippines, and they'll go back to doing the same stuff that they did before. You don't believe? Just because, you know, somebody's raised from the dead, I mean, that's just a... Now, listen, Jesus was raised from the dead, and people did believe. But now we're blessed because, blessed are those who have not seen and believed. Though. See, that's the thing. Believe what? The scriptures about the account of Jesus being raised from the dead. I never saw Jesus, yet I believe by the grace of God because of Moses and the prophets and the apostles. You understand what I mean? That's the deal. So I believe the account. I believe the scriptures. It is written. That's in the perfect tense, by the way, in Greek. It has been written. You understand what I'm saying? So read it. Don't wait for people for miracles. You know, for God to write "I love you" in the sky. Remember those planes in the Bronx that used to be writing things all the time? Were you waiting for that? We already have, okay, natural revelation. God saying, I love you through the stars. You understand what I'm saying? And you still don't believe. Now God is giving you special revelation. This stuff, the stuff of God. It speaks about this account. What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about the rich man? Are you rich without God? Do you have your bank on earth or your bank in heaven? Which one? So this is the account of a rich man that had really he didn't have anything. He wasn't rich toward God though. That's what I'm saying. And he had someone who had nothing. Didn't even have any clothes. A whole bunch of saws. Was dressed in his skin. You understand what I'm saying? It almost reminds me of Job in the Old Testament. You know, blisters or whatever the case may be. You know, from top to bottom, being struck. You know. Just amazing. Amazing. The turnaround. The tables have been turned by God. You see, Lazarus is now comforted, and the rich man has nothing. Has no purple. I mean, he looked like he had it on. You know, the appearance probably was still on his soul of the purple and stuff like that, even bringing him to a deeper condemnation. But I'm just saying, in actuality, he couldn't enjoy anything that he enjoyed upon the planet's surface. He couldn't. He was in Sheol. He was in the heart of the earth, waiting to be cast into the lake of fire. Now the compartment is empty. There's no more Abraham there. There's no more Lazarus there, and the other occupants. So that's gone. So now, you know, the rich man is looking at nothing. The garden in Sheol, in East Sheol, paradise wasn't destroyed though. God didn't destroy that. So, I mean, it's poetic justice that all of these occupants, the hundreds of millions of people, I mean, I don't know if they all could see, okay, paradise from where they're at. I mean, that's just the deal. You have to have the front stage to see that. But the people that can see that on an ongoing basis and they can't even get there, it's probably gnawing at their vital existence. That they're in Sheol, in Torture, in West Sheol, and then they can look. At least the man probably didn't change his position. The rich man, he could still see, okay, from where he's at, afar off, but you can still see it emptied. There's no more talking going back and forth, but he could see the garden, the park that he could have been in if he just trusted in the sacrifice and not in his own works. You understand what I'm saying? If he was just perfect, he would have been in that spot. But you can't be perfect. That's a problem. You need a ticket. And not a ticket to ride. You understand what I'm saying? A ticket to salvation. And you can't pay it. And this guy, before he's shoved off to the lake of fire, has to see paradise every single. There's no day there, but I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, that's just every. I'll put it on our terms. He has to see paradise every single day and night of his subsistence, of his existence. You understand what I'm saying? He has to see that, and he can't get there. If only he could just pass to the other side, that he could enjoy all the blessings that Lazarus did when he was there and Sheol with Abraham. But he can't. I would have left it. I would have left the light on. If I was God, and probably that's what he did, I would have left, okay, the light of East Sheol, paradise and Sheol, I would have left it on so you could see it every day. So it could gnaw at him. You understand what I'm saying? This is what, I mean, you know, this is what you could have had, but you can't even get there. You can't. It's just like Lazarus couldn't get to you through the gate. He was blocked. It was blocked off. You understand what I'm saying? And now you, the worm that you can't, okay, get to the other side because of this thing I fixed between you and East Shield, if you will, paradise. You had a gate between you and Lazarus. You understand what I'm saying? I put even something greater than that, so you can't even get to the other side where there's pleasure forevermore. You can't get there. There's pleasure. Can you get to it? But you can't. Dodger. And out of the frying pan into the fire, you will be cast into the lake of fire after the great white throne judgment, where the books are going to be open, and all your works are going to be displayed. You in that house, not helping Lazarus at all, helping yourself, dressing in fine linen, not sharing, not healing Abraham's child, Lazarus. You see, too busy stuffing your face, man, and not sharing. You see, blessed, but woe to you who laugh, thou you shall weep. Woe to you who are full, now you shall hunger. This is Angelo Quinones giving glory to God the Father, to the Lord Jesus Christ, and in the Holy Spirit. God is not the God of the dead, Necron, but of the living, and that means that Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob were very much alive at the time that Jesus said those words. Please subscribe to my channel. Please give me a thumbs up, and please leave your comment on the screen. The only way of escape. How shall you escape if you neglect so great salvation? Now is the accepted time. Now is the day of salvation, is by hearing and believing the message of the good news of Jesus Christ and Him crucified and raised bodily from the dead. If you trust in the finished work of Jesus, you will be saved. Whosoever shall call upon the name of the Lord shall be saved. The sin of this man is not that he was rich merely, but he was rich without God, who richly gives us all things to enjoy. I understand that, but not to enjoy it at the expense of others. He didn't share. He wasn't thankful. And now he's in torture. And Lazarus is not even there, like I said before. He's to be absent with the body, to be present with the Lord now. I mean, that compartment was emptied after the resurrection of Jesus. And now Lazarus is going to be enjoying eternity forevermore in the new heavens and in the new earth where righteousness dwell. Amen.